Have you been off of work?
Yeah, since the week before, or since the week of spring break. Supposed to go back to work July the 9th, but yeah, it's the plan until an email comes and says, don't come yet. So I don't really know. You know, Eloy was gonna start,
The 20th.
yeah, they had it all figured out, you know, the AM classes and the PM classes and until this, and they were gonna,
Yeah, Miranda had things, my sister-in-law is Principal Miranda. And they had things worked out too, but I don't think they're gonna.
So they can't now.
Do anything now.
At least not in person anyway. They can do it online.
I'm kind of wondering what the union and, Vista's gonna do, because they can do online, because each kid that goes to school there, they have to check out a notebook of some kind, so, I mean, it would probably be okay for the returning high school, but for all the brand new freshmen,
Yeah, I think I talked to Dave just a little bit last night, yesterday, and it sounded like, now I could be wrong, but it sounded like they were still just going to delay everything. until
Yeah, I mean-
17th last week.
you know, I know that, have you guys noticed that the hand sanitizers are smelling more and more like booze,
Booze.
tequila, moonshine? If you will smell the ones, you're gonna find out they don't smell like they used to.
Yeah.
I think they must have made a great big steal and just had some moonshine and some clear Jello and, cause
Yeah, Tim, you're gonna taste it, see how it tastes.
I put some on the other day and I'll tell you, it smells just like tequila to me.
Just don't go drinking it. You know, there were some people in, was that New Mexico that died the other day because they drank some? One of them was blind now.
I don't get people.
Is this your dinner, Dennis? When you come to board meeting, you have chocolate dinner?
Only sweet I get.
Because your wife's not here.
It's sweet for one.
She's not watching us right there. She's watching you eat all that candy.
Mm-hmm.
I love you know. Oh, you know, it's not like I feel sick. It's just mobility and pain is such a problem. And, you know, they send you home with 5 days and 5 milligram pain pills, which, yeah, so I'm taking Tylenol, I'm managing. So, yeah, I go a week from today for my appointment, but this numbness is crazy, but they're calling me in some kind of super steroid. We went to Castro to get it. You know, it's like you take so many each day before that, it's like you stand there. Then they have the surgeon, it's inflammation. So I may just take the pills when I get home tonight.
Would you like,
Sure.
Thank you.
you're welcome. Would you like a letter?
Sure, thank you very much.
Would you like a letter? I'm good, thank you.
So what have you been doing with all your time, Dennis? Now that you don't
Oh, I don't have time, I don't have enough time to even get done what I'm trying to get done.
Well, that's because you're retired. Most
Yeah,
people don't.
retired. It's a good thing you're retired, I'd really be behind.
Still doing the add-on to your house, still working on that, or are you done with that?
I'm finishing up details on it right now,
Yeah.
painting and trim. I had central heating and air conditioning, so I got that. Pretty good. Got the wood stove out.
What's that?
Got the wood stove out.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah. You go ahead and.
Still got that dump truck to be, sold? Okay, yeah, really.
After I got done with it, I sat there for 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do the right.
Okay, now I gotta fix this.
Matter of fact, the last time Mr. Dickerson had that big auction out at the fairgrounds, or out by the fairgrounds. Yeah, I put in that auction. And No, they're Ramos were bought.
Who did?
Ramos.
Oh, okay.
They got, I hear, you know, it's,
Did you get out of it about what you would pay to pay the church?
I don't know.
Did you really? Very good. Well, you put some money into it to get it going.
Yeah, and I've changed all the wheels, because they had split wheels on. I changed all the 22.5s. And changed all the wheels and tires and everything. And it ran good. I drove it over there. I mean, it drove real nice.
Very good.
Hello. But,
Hi, this is Mark Lindgren.
Didn't
Yeah.
need it anymore.
Hey, this is Jamie from Salt Lake. Hey, I'm just giving you stuff for
we
Denise.
sit there.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Then all it's gonna do
There's
there
a
is,
few times.
I'm gonna try to call Tim.
yeah.
So
You know,
if I put you on hold for a minute.
Oh, yeah, there's more twice, I know.
Okay,
And the layer-
give me 1
the
second.
layer of it that's sitting
It's sitting there, yeah.
Thank you, because the tires rot out, and
Yep.
the lines on the hydraulics will rot out.
And they were pretty marginal already.
Yeah, you didn't change those on?
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
they were
surprising.
pretty marginal, so I don't know, I'm gonna be pretty, if I keep it,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be pretty warm. So I decided,
Hello, Dave.
Then he ran my pocket. And I was like, Denise,
What's that?
was that Sabrina's dad that passed away?
Yes,
Yes, it was.
yes, it was terrible, terrible.
Tim
She
Casey.
just had fixated.
Hi, this is Casey from Salt Lake School District. I'm getting you set up for Denise. Give me 1 minute so I can connect you through to the board meeting.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, Mark, Tim, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Then, okay, you guys are on the board
in
meeting.
front of the camera. Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you.
Not a problem.
Hi, Dave. Is that better? Okay, are we gonna get the microphone? I'm talking to Dave on the phone, and he's trying to figure out if he can hear.
Did you just call? Tommy.
So we want to turn that on, and is anybody on there anymore?
Yeah, they're both on.
Okay.
Tommy, I
Uh,
told you, I don't get my fries, I'm going so far.
Hey, Mark,
Yes.
will you go ahead and, say a few things, and we're gonna see if we can hear you, in the,
Just say a few things so that everybody can see if they can hear my voice.
Yeah.
All right, okay. I am, doing a board meeting from home. Hopefully I've got everybody on their quiet, moment in time and not been disturbed me during this period of time. And, get my computer run up here real quick. And, hopefully we get this meeting started here fairly soon.
can you hear it at all?
Well, I can hear him fine.
Okay, we'll turn it up a little bit more. Hey, Mark, go ahead and talk some more, please.
All right, I'm getting into my computer this time. Bringing everything up and, should be ready to go here shortly, hopefully. I don't know why I'm in my email. Let me get into does everybody hear me now? Am I loud and clear?
Is that better? Okay, I think we got it figured out. Add a microphone.
Okay, I think we're good.
All right, good, that's fine.
I was Dave making sure he could hear even wherever he's at and watching. He said he was texting me.
And,
Yes,
Abel Salcedo. What are we paying him for?
he is yeah, spray paint.
Oh,
We that's control. I'm sorry, not sprays weed, sprays bugs. You knew what I meant. You knew what I meant. I'm all set.
And it'll pick up,
No.
it'll pick up that, because you're using the same phone, so it'll pick up all three.
And Tim talked to Casey.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Yes.
Hi, Tim and Mark, are you guys doing okay?
We're alive. I know I'm alive and that's doing okay.
Well, there you go. Are you
Yeah, I'm
okay,
okay.
Tim?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good, good.
So everybody can hear me okay?
We can hear you loud and
You
clear.
are loud and clear.
Well, wonderful. I'm looking at about 4 minutes till 6. Is everybody in agreement with that one?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, all right.
Can you hear everybody? Testing, Dennis?
Hello, Mark.
Hi, Dennis.
How you doing?
Very good. How are you doing?
I'm doing real good.
Excellent. I'm glad you're doing real good. I wish I was doing as good as you.
Testing, Pam?
Yep.
How are you feeling, Pam, now that surgery go?
Well, doctor says he went fine, but he needs to hop in my body and see if he can come up with that same answer.
Yeah, I feel you. I do feel you. Now, I have to see a pulmonologist here in the coming future, so find out why my lungs aren't letting me breathe like I'm supposed to.
Oh, you going to one up in the valley?
No, I'm going to one here just to find out first. If I have to go any farther, I will jump on and see where I gotta go to fix
Yeah,
this.
good idea.
You gonna go see Dr. Raj?
Yes, I'm gonna go see Dr. Raj.
He's pretty good. You'll like him.
Good. I got 1 in favor of Dr. Raj. That's a good thing. I was hoping that I could run into somebody who would say, if he was any good. When he says I'm good to go back to work, I'll go back to work. But until then, I'm sitting at home trying to figure out how to breathe again.
You'll be in my prayers, you too, Tim and Pam. It's been quite a month. I just finished writing up a timeline of all the things that we've been impacted with as a district in June.
That must be a long list.
Yeah. I wrote it all down so we'd have that, on file. Because, like, there's some things that we should have been able to do before now, but we just couldn't, not with the complications.
Yeah, I think me and poor Tim Cason, we've both been out for a long time now, just because fevers, not being able to breathe, not being able to move around, and obviously not wanting to infect anyone else. So it's been a rough month.
Yes, it has. I'm assuming you guys got this at work, right?
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt about it. We're in direct contact with those people all the time, and there were so many people that just kept saying, oh, he comes out, oh, he came down. Well, I was standing in front of him face to face 2 days ago, so I'm sure I got it too now, so yeah, that's how it works.
Okay, I have 6 bills.
You got 6? Okay, well then, call this meeting order, how about this meeting to order, it's Old School District number 22. I have myself my gavel, there we go. And if Dennis could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I would be very happy.
I pledge allegiance to
To
the
the
flag
flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A moment of silence, please. And Pam, could you lead us in the treasure hunter's pledge?
As an adult and a treasure hunter, I am committed to serve for all the talents, skills, and intelligence
Which exists in all children and youth. I believe all children are capable of success, no exceptions. All right. And Mrs. Rogers, if you could conduct the roll call, please.
Mark Lindgren,
Here.
Dennis Callahan,
Present.
Tim Cason,
Here.
Pamela Long. Here. All present.
Very good, thank you. on to the, approval of the agenda.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
I second.
Okay, well, Mr. Callahan has, made a motion and, Ms. Long has, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say aye. It passes. Now there goes my gavel. We're good to go. Sorry, guys. Now we go to the current events. Ms. Rogers, could you help us out with that?
Thank you. So our vice principals have been working this summer more than normal, just because there's a lot of planning to take place. And we're going to be working on scheduling, professional development, the training, as, so that in small groups, not large groups, so that we can do so safely, but also intimately and thoroughly, so that we're, everyone is thoroughly trained. So that will be happening as early as mid-July. And because our boardroom is so small, and to accommodate not packing in here, we're going to anticipate scheduling board meetings at the school sites once school begins. So we'll alternate between schools and do so in probably the gymnasiums or cafeterias. And the annual community firework event in Arizona City to celebrate Independence Day. Typically that's on July 3rd, and last year we started hosting that at the Arizona City School, but our fire chief and board has canceled the event with the intention of rescheduling at the end of the summer. That's all, thank you. Oh, I do need to say that board clerk Johnny Flores has resigned his position.
Yes, that is the one last thing that has to be presented. And saddens me. I wish I could still have him here. But I'm hoping that everything he has in his future is bright, and I wish him nothing but luck. All right. And now we go into the back of school briefing.
Approval of action.
Oh, I'm sorry, approval of action. I just skipped over it. That's right. I put my clip in the wrong spot. Do we have the agenda items? Anyone has anything to say about the agenda items this time?
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Oh, whoops, I forgot something. On consent, item 3C, I'd like to pull off the termination so that there's time for this individual. She just received her notification, just picked up her mail, so she has time to write a letter. So we'll have that next board meeting. So asking to pull off Stephanie McMullen Nelson.
Right, I'm looking at that right now. If everybody's in favor of that, just pulling Stephanie McMillan and the rest of the action of approval of the action consent items, please.
Well, what we need to do is I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, less item C.
So I ask to approve the action as consent items, less item C.
Not the whole entire item.
Just item C, Stephanie Long.
But we can't adjust this in the single motion. We have to take it out, and then we can revisit it. After we approve the consent agenda, we pull item C out, then we go back to item C, move it to an action item, and make the change. Okay? So again, the motion on the floor is to approve the consent agenda items, the consent agenda as presented, less item C.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. McCain. Sorry. I'll just start off my page by Dennis Callahan, and a second by Mr. Long.
visit item C to make the necessary.
Okay, so we are in item C, correct?
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
So I just need the Stephanie pulled from this agenda item.
So now have moved back to, item C. We can now pull, so all in favor of pulling termination at this time, item C,
I make a motion, we approve item C, less determination of Stephanie Moore.
Second.
all right, we have approval by, Mr. Callahan, and second by Ms. Long. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Callahan, for your help and getting me on straight. Now, we move on to information discussion items. Back to school briefing.
At this point in time, the principals have been working on, and site administrators have been working on a back to school plan. And there are several of us have been working on it, but they let me know that it's possible that we might be able, we're making every effort to offer 3 models when we get back to school, and that would be for students to be able to come to school on-site full-time, and a hybrid where they're on-site 50% of the time and engaging and learning from home 50% of the time, and then remote learning where the students are learning from home 100% of the time. We have a second survey that's due tonight that went out to our families, because in our first survey, which sadly we only had 159 responses, 45% chose the in-person model for their students, 33% chose the hybrid model, and then 22% chose the remote learning model. So the second survey is to our families to get the numbers of students as close as possible so that we can try to plug those into schedules. And then Principal Huffman and Principal Winsberg will present the plan at the next board meeting.
All right, does anybody have anything to say about that? All right, then moving on to the financial report.
Okay. Presented to you is the budget report for what have been the end of May. And you can see that we now have a budget capacity of about $270,993.83. And we've seen that number actually go up a little bit because of some of the savings from the coronavirus closure. Primarily, all of the extra expenditures of the extra $3 an hour that we were giving to all the employees was recouped in other savings throughout the district. So we didn't really see a major blow to the budget because of that. You can look at the 2 charts there as we presented every month. You can see that, of course, the same type of deal. We have spent more in the current year than what we did in the previous year for salaries and benefits, but we are offering and providing more services to our students. And then our projected is pretty close to where we projected throughout the year to be. So, do you have any questions on the budget report as it's presented?
Well, I like the way you presented, and I understand how this works. But I don't have issue with it at this time. It's self-explanatory. It really kind of gives you straight up information.
Very good. Okay, let's move on to the grants report. The good news is that all our projects are moving along with the school facilities board. If you've driven by the school lately, you see the construction going on the gymnasium roof. They're making great progress out there. We're getting great reports from the quality assurance and quality control people that are keeping an eye on it and are architect has also been by a couple times and has updated me on some things. And some areas where we had to, kind of correct things as we go, but they are doing a very good job and great progress is being made. I presented this to you at the last meeting because it happened right before the last meeting, that the curtains were installed over at the Toltec Elementary School. So you can go over and see them as you would like. They are beautiful, a much needed improvement to the gymnasium, and they look very nice. The other plans, the other projects with the school facilities board are moving forward. We do have the design plans approved for both the doors at the Toltec School and building C&D roof, so we'll be moving forward with hazardous material testing very soon. And the weatherization from Arizona City Elementary School has been held up a little bit from the coronavirus, but we will be meeting with the architect in the next couple weeks to do a walkthrough with that for the assessment. The government grants and the entitlement grants that we have, you can see there that for the COVID-19 economic stimulus package, we received about $282,000, which we will be able to utilize to improve our facilities and sanitation and help with some of the training and stuff that we'll be doing with the teachers and the paraprofessionals. So that money will be utilized for that.
Is that money very specific as the way what you can spend on?
It is not really specific. So the major test to it is it something that we've been impacted by for the coronavirus? So, sanitizing equipment that they're getting.
Meaning the new school bus
Well,
would be an impact of that.
it would. However, with the other items that we have to utilize to just get the facility taken care of, there won't be enough there to look at. We've already actually, Mrs. Rogers and I, we talked about that a little bit. She was saying it would be nice to get a bus. Unfortunately, the expense of some of the things that it takes to get us ready to go back to school is just not going to make it possible. I wish it was, but it's just not going to be there. The cost of putting in things like water bottle filling stations, so the kids aren't getting drinks from the drinking fountain necessarily, are going to eat up a good chunk of that. Hand washing stations are going to eat up a big chunk of that because the cost of installation is going to be fairly high on some of those things. So, and then we are purchasing fogger, sanitizing
guns. There's a sanitizing tablet that goes into them, and then you come into the bus or the classroom and spray it around, and it just sanitizes, just as the companies do that come in and sanitize against viruses. So that was pretty expensive. And then we've had also our vice principals working more to help repair, and then we'll have to bring in staff early, so we'll have that extra expense of training and people coming in beyond their regular contract or work agreement.
The money goes very fast. 282,000 seems like a lot of money, but it will go away very quickly. So that is the COVID-19 economic stimulus. Our school safety grant, I have been in contact with both Eloy PD and the Sheriff's Department. They both assure me they're working on the hiring process now to get us an SRO for both campuses. So that is something that actually will have to be hired before the end of July. That is a requirement from the ADE to have that done by then. We will be rolling over a considerable amount of funds in Title I and some of the other grants that we weren't able to expend because of the coronavirus. And we did, since this was written, we did end up being awarded some funds in the SCI budget grant that will allow us to pay for an additional ELL teacher for the Arizona City campus, and then we'll have one for both schools. That is the grants report, and you can see through the budgeting numbers below if you want to go look at those. And if you have any questions, I'd be welcome to answer them.
All right, does anybody have any questions? No? All right, and we shall move on to
was just brought to you just as a discussion point as we're trying to put together planning. The, on June 27, 2018, transportation was extended beyond the 1 mile radius. And then on March 13, 2019, expansion of the bus services was, that expansion was approved to continue on a permanent basis. The CDC, they're, wanting the physical distancing on the buses. The best, what we've talked about, the best that we feel that we can do, and there's still planning ongoing, but is to have our paraprofessionals that we started last year. I know Pam had said that she wanted to make sure that no one was shorted any hours with our instructional hours decreasing. And so we put our paraprofessionals to work on the buses as bus monitors, because I always feel like our buses need bus monitors. And we'll have the paraprofessionals will be trained to step off the bus at the stops, take temperatures, and that's another expense, and to buy more thermometers that are little guns that read the temp, just pointing at your forehead. And so they'll take the temperatures before the students get on the bus. And of course, we're going to ask our parents to take temperatures at home so that a child doesn't get to the bus stop with the temperature. But should a child get to the bus stop with the temperature, then we can't just leave the child at the bus stop. So the plan would probably be to put the sick child, put a mask on them, put them on the front seat of the bus, and excluded from everybody else. And then when the bus would arrive at the school, the paraprofessional would escort the sick child to a designated area for the parents to be called. And in the meantime, the bus would load from the back to the front. And then when it gets to the school, if there should be someone who's sick, they're the first one off the bus. And then the bus they would get off from the opposite, from the front to the back. So you're not, crisscrossing. We are trying to work out transportation where we would have on one seat with hopefully no more than 2 students to a seat, and we would sit family members together. And then hopefully we have enough room to skip, like there would be no one be sitting right across the aisle from the 2 students, and then the next row back have, alternating like a zigzag pattern. I think we might be able to accomplish that right in the beginning. As the pandemic decreases and our numbers go up, maybe it won't be problematic. But right now we're hoping to get some more numbers and everything and see how we can do that. I did put this was done by the transportation department, just kind of it's inventory of our buses, and we have 4 that are in pretty bad shape and need to be replaced. And we have 1 that is not as bad as the other 4. We're even having, this is so frustrating. We're even having mechanical issues with our newest big bus. I don't know. I just think, good grief. But we are in need of buses, and so obviously, but we're just trying to do the best that we can with what we have.
Okay, well, hopefully the new bus didn't get cold.
So I guess my question to you is, do you want to possibly decrease that expansion, or do you want, where do you stand on this as board members?
We have to find out how many students we have and what we got going on first before I would take anyone away or off of it, because I don't know. I don't think anybody does.
really briefly. One of the issues that we've seen, and I know you guys have seen the charts from the last couple of years, that our transportation costs are massively higher than comparable districts around us. So that's just something to consider. And some of it is repairs that we've done, but some of it's not. So, so that's just something to consider as we're looking at this.
And our transportation costs are going to skyrocket. If we have to transport all the kids we have been transporting and limiting, I feel sorry, we won't have any bus drivers. If I was a bus driver, can you imagine trying to segregate that many kids and make them load that way and make them, there's going to be no way.
Good point, Dan.
I've driven a school bus. Just to get them on there and off there safely is a great task. And to try to organize and structure the way they get on and where they sit, who they sit with. You're gonna have buses getting to school late. You're gonna have a whole lot of problems.
But definitely would have to have seating charts, so the students would no longer be allowed to choose their seats.
Yeah, this is going to be an issue, an ongoing issue, I think, in the future. And how to handle this at this moment in time is a big, can they, are we gonna have bus monitors to go out there and just seat the kids as they come on? You're gonna sit here, and we just go.
Yes, there'll be the paraprofessionals.
So then our transportation costs go up more because now we've got 2 people on every bus instead of 1.
We started that this past year so that our paraprofessionals didn't get less hours because of the shortened school day. So that
But as Tim said, our costs are already a lot more than everybody else. So maybe we need to reach out to some other districts and see what they're doing and how they plan to do it, because if we're already spending more than everybody else and we're gonna start having fewer students on the buses, we're just gonna see it go up some more. It might be a good idea to reach out to some other districts and see what they plan to do and just have some more ideas for when we do have to make a decision.
That's understandable, Dennis, I agree with you. We, not only that, but, we will revisit this, soon, so we can, once we do have information, from the other school district, maybe we can, tap into what they're doing and make it better for ourselves.
Okay, we can do that.
All right. If everybody's agreeing with that, we'll move on to the G, substitute teacher pay increase possible.
We have an ongoing complaint that our subs aren't being paid enough. So as is typical of me, I gathered information from other districts. And from what I can tell, it's actually in the area of the emergency certified, which makes sense because our subs sign up with ESI and most of our daily subs are emergency certified. And so ours is being paid $85 a day. But in Costa Grande, if you're emergency certified, you're being paid in that district $100 a day. In Eloy, 80, so they're $5 underneath us. And the list goes on. So I just wanted to see what you thought of this before I made it an action, to see if it needs to be an action item or what, where do you stand in this of, we need substitute teachers. We need to be able to, we're going to, what I anticipate due to this virus, first of all, we're not going to be holding absences against anyone, staff or students, because we don't want people to come sick. So with that in mind, we're going to need substitute teachers even more so. So that's the caveat here.
Substitute teachers, we spend a lot of money in that area every year. I mean, a lot. Would that money be better spent if we increased our starting salary where we could attract some more teachers, full-time teachers, and not be paying all this money to substitutes? Do other districts have that many substitutes?
This is not, for those that are in the classroom assigned. These are the ones who come in, if the teacher, even if they're not appropriately certified, whoever come in to take their place when they're out of the classroom. These are daily subs.
Well, I understand that. If you go,
I don't think raising any kind of salaries for our regular teachers is gonna make any difference whatsoever, because if they're sick, they can't come to work, and that's just all there is to it. And, we're not like way out of line. I mean, we're $15 behind Casa Grande, and Casa Grande has over 7,000 students. So, we're not that bad at all. We are on emergency certified. We're doing better than Eloy. So that's good. Maricopa now, I don't even see emergency certified
They
there.
didn't have it on their list, no.
But, Maricopa probably has a whole lot of students now with all the new schools they built. Red Rock, the closest one to compare us to is Eloy, and Stanfield is small, and they sure pay a lot. I don't know where maybe they don't have a lot of.
Well, we can look at, raising it from 85 to 95 or 90, somewhere in there. Either raise it $5 or raise it $10 across the board, and see. It's up to you guys. I mean, we can look at it that way and see, because we're actually really competing against Casa Grande right now.
What happens is that when you sign up for BSI, which Casa Grande also uses, and I'm not sure which districts are signed up with BSI, probably most of them. You're in that pool, so you can choose as a substitute
Where you want to go.
where you want to go for that day that you want to work.
But some of them may say, gee, I'd rather go to Talbot School District because it's an easy work day. I'm hoping that's what they would think.
Kids are well behaved.
Yeah, because let me tell you, at the district I work at, substitutes, when they come by and turn in their keys and their folders, they flat out tell us at the front, I will never take that class again. And that's not just once, that happens a whole lot. Usually at the junior high age, but the subs, they do, they look at it and they get to choose where they want to go.
Yes.
So maybe bringing it up just a little bit might make a big difference. Sub would rather have an easy day than have a difficult day with sending kids to the office all day long. So that's something to definitely think about.
The other component that subs like is, the teacher having everything well prepared for them to be successful.
And I would assume our teachers always have a backup lesson plan, because a lot of times teachers, they don't know they're going to be out because they wake up ill. And they all probably have backup lesson plans, right?
I'm not sure how the administrators are doing it now, but we also have emergency sub plan folders in the office. But now that so much has gone to technology, but the other thing is the other teachers in the grade level also are very helpful. But the thing that the teachers need to have is their schedule. Like on Mondays, we do this and this at this time, and so but certain things for preparing to be out.
well, I think before I'd be willing to consider raising anything at all, I'd want Tim to give me a report of what we have paid, and if we went up by $5 or $10 a day, what the impact is, what that annual expense is.
Okay.
If we raise it 5 or if we raise it 10, what does that cost us? Based on the number of stuff we used last year. Do that? Okay.
Okay, you think you could do that, Tim?
Yeah, I certainly can. We can have that for you for the next meeting.
Yeah, so give us what it looks like at 5 and give us what it looks like at 10, and then maybe we can go from there. Just give us a roundabout idea. you're gonna kind of explain this right off the top, and then maybe I can read this off.
Okay, on May 23rd, the governing board had a work session and a notice of employee code of conduct was composed. And so this notice, it defines the ethical behavior expectations that the governing board expects from personnel. So it's in alignment with policy and state statutes and federal law. And so it just kind of clearly outlines and defines the expectations that are most important to the governing board as far as the conduct of all of our employees. This notice will be at the beginning of every school year. So from now on, after it's ratified tonight, it will be at the beginning of the back to school sessions. Professional development will be presented and gone over, and then every employee signs, notifies that they have, acknowledges that they have read this in the notice, and then a copy is put into the personnel files.
Okay, this also extends to those who are like hired in the middle of the year, if someone's hired then this will be also done, is that correct?
Yes, thank you.
All right, so now we know everybody has to sign this, if we ratify it.
Okay, we all are aware of why this is brought to us and why this was developed, and the incident that happened that started all of this. This doesn't address that problem. It doesn't address it at all. The problem that we had was we did not have a specific policy to address that specific problem, and it's still not here.
Let's see.
It's vague. This is so vague that it doesn't, it's still the same thing that happened. You'd have no policy to stand on.
Well, if you open that document up, that the ones they're gonna have to sign, item 5 could probably,
But that's what I'm saying, could probably, that was our problem before. Well, could take it that way, or it could mean this, or it could mean that.
Well,
We need something that specifically says what we don't want to happen.
I don't think something like that you can't really spell out in document.
Sure you can. You can say that all employees that no personal relationship can happen between employees. Period. That covers it.
Well, yeah, but, we have employees who are married to each other.
That's obviously an exclusion.
As they get to know each other, you never know when employees may decide to date one another.
Okay, but not on school property or while on school grounds, and that's how this should have been spelled. That's what should have been said in here, that personal relationships must be kept out of school grounds and off school property.
It was gone over in depth, and part of it was to say that if you word things this way, you're covering the statutes and the laws, and then you can take it back to this at different points. I would say that would go to number 8.
That's already in policy. Number 8 is already written in our policy, but we couldn't use it because it was too vague. Because everybody has to have their own determination of ethical and responsible manner. That could be anybody's. That could be yours or mine. Well, to me, that's ethical. To me, it's not. Again, that's why we were here, because the policies that we have are too vague and don't specifically identify the problem that we had, to make sure that the board has the authority to take action in that kind of situation. And we still don't, not with this. If the same thing happened again, we would still be in the same boat. Well, that's kind of vague. It doesn't specifically say, and that's where we were last time. I think this needs to be revisited and revised to read to the point that is very, very clear of what is acceptable and what is not.
Actually, number 8 is not the one.
No.
Number 8 is not, sorry. I haven't read this since May.
Well, I read it and 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 tried to find something in there that would, without a doubt, identify the problem and take care of it, and it's not in.
11, yeah, if it's outside of the contract day.
Unless we change that to say, you know, not just outside the contract day, but during or at or outside of the contract day. I don't know.
I mean, the majority of what is written here is already in policy, just like it says it right here.
Well, we do have the employee handbook, which they sign, but this gives a little bit more of a directive, and you can bring this back and say, because when you go over it, you know, you kind of take it step by step with the employees and kind of go into a little bit more depth, you know.
But you don't, but that's not what they're signing. What they're signing is what this says. You can't hold anything more than what this says right here. It doesn't matter how well you explain it. It doesn't matter what you do when you're explaining it to them. What they're agreeing to is what is written on this piece of paper.
And you don't think 5 would cover that, Dennis? Because
No.
there you're talking about.
Again, it's a
fairness and
personal,
dignity.
it's a personal opinion. Fairness and dignity, well, y'all was very dignified.
Because that covers parents, students,
Right, it's
staff,
it's
you
too
know,
vague.
everybody.
It needs to specifically address the relationships between employees
I
and staff.
forget exactly what Dr., what did he say about that? He did explain all that, because we did talk about specifics. And
Well, it was actually, it was number 11 that he was talking about. That they're refraining from, activities outside the contract day or reasonably interfere with his or her ability to effectively perform duties assigned to legitimate operation interests of Tulsa School District Governing Board. That, was where it, stated a lot of that. And,
Again, the word that throws you off on that one is reasonably. Who's gonna determine if what is, well, I thought it was reasonable. And you can't leave it vague to somebody's interpretation or somebody's opinion.
well, no, I understand what you're saying.
It's gotta be straightforward, and it's gotta be, just like at the prison where you work, Mark, you have to take your temperature. Not if you feel like, it can't be vague, it's gotta be clear, and it's gotta be straightforward, or we're gonna find ourselves in the same position again, and the same thing, well, it only says reasonably. Okay, well, then reasonably, in his opinion, it was okay. It has to be straightforward, or all of this was just a waste of time. Because this is just as vague, it's just as vague as the policies were, and it doesn't really specifically address the problem at all.
I believe that, part of the training was that it's impossible to list every single thing that, might be problematic. So you do it in areas, you know, so that when there becomes a problem in a certain area, you bring it back and you say, okay, you know, let's
That's
go
what we're
back to
doing.
this.
We had a problem in an area that needed to be fixed, and that's what we're trying to fix now, and this doesn't fix it.
Well, there's all sorts of reasons why employees receive letters of direction or reprimand, you know, within.
So this needs to
scope of
this needs to be an offense that you get terminated.
Well, how about this? Why don't we just table item A for now, because we will be having another meeting very soon. And, Ms. Rogers, you can contact, and,
Dr. Bell.
yes, and let's get it, and let him know, you know, the concerns that we want it spelled out to where there will be no misunderstanding between the employee and the district.
And it's not led to a reasonable or a determination, it's very, very, very clear.
Yeah. So I make a motion that we table, 6A until our next meeting.
And I second that.
All right, Ms. Long has, said that we table this, 6A, and it's been seconded by Dennis Callahan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? None? Okay, we're good with that. Okay, it passes. We will table this until next time. Next is, B, the final budget revision.
Okay, so before you, you have the 2020 final budget revision. Normally, this would come to you before May 15th. However, because of the coronavirus, the state allowed us to push it back. In addition to the fact they wanted us to include the COVID-19 relief funds into the budget, which is on one of the later pages. So what you do have, I also gave you a little kind of just condensed little thing of what actually you're seeing in the budget. So the previous budget was 6.855 million. And we did have a decrease from our average daily membership of about $15,615. So we lost about 9 students, I believe was the number, over the previous budget revision. But we did have an increase in the budget because of the Move On When Reading funds that are going to be awarded to the district. So we had a total budget increase of $48,895. So you can look through what would be your third page, which is where you would see the changes that are there. We are looking at, you can see the final budget, 6,905,790 down the bottom. I think this number changed slightly from when I gave this paper to Denise, so I apologize for that. So it went up just a couple $100 more, I think $800 more, $900 more. So 6,905,790 is the final budget for the school year. We basically put most of it into salaries and employee benefits to offset that and get that in line with where we need it to be, and a little bit in some of the supplies in some of the areas, specifically if you're looking across at the 2600 operation and maintenance of plant, and down at the purchase services, that's up to $402,603. That's where a large amount of money went. Do you have any questions on the budget revision? It's basically the same as what you've been seeing over the course of the last year, just with a little bit of additional funds from the Move On.
I guess I went over this quite a bit over and over, and it pretty much mirrors what you had before, except for that slight difference.
I just have one more question.
What's that?
On the signature page, capitalize your others.
I did actually on the actual signature page, you will see it's capitalized. I noticed it after I gave it
do that, wait till I
Yeah.
get on the school board.
to get on the school board. Yes, on the signature page, it is actually got the capital R on it, so it is correct. And on your signature, on the signature page, it says revised 3, not revised 2. So I did notice those 2 little minor errors.
That being the case, I make a motion that we approve the final revision for the 2020 budget.
Second.
All right, Ms. Van Long has made a motion to approve, and Mr. Callahan has seconded that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against? Motion passes, thank you. Moving on to C.
So this is the 2021 budget proposal. So we have to have the budget proposal done before July 5th, and it has to be before the public for 10 days, and then approved by the 15th of July. So, so before you have the proposed budget for fiscal year 21. Some things to take note is that the primary tax rate is down considerably, down to 2.0992, which is actually where it ended for 2020. So you budget for that same amount, and that may change as the county will let us know that in the future. We did see an increase in our revenue control limit of about $300,000. Let me see what information. About $263,000. Sorry, $263,000, and So that brought that, you can see the maintenance and operation. This new computer is going to throw me for a loop here, guys. So we did see an increase of that by $268,000. 263. And then the one thing that we did see a reduction in is that we have dipped into our carryover fairly considerably. So our overall budget is down by about $300,000 over the previous year because we've dipped into our carryover that much. That may change in the revision. We'll see a revision in December, and then one again next May. That may change as our final expenditures for fiscal year 20 become final. We may see that that carryover change some. So your budget actually looks very similar to this year, except for that we had to eliminate some funds out in different areas. Mostly, we did that through the purchase services in 6,300, 6,400, and 6,500. You'll notice considerably some of those are lower, and that is areas where we will have to keep an eye on throughout the year to keep those in check and not overexpend. And specifically in the central services 2,500, you can see that it is down 10.9%, and maintenance and operation of plant is down 9.8%. So those are two areas that we did pull back a little bit. Again, in the revision in December, we will see that change some because we will know for sure where our final numbers will be for the year.
Am I missing where your projected carryover is for this year?
Yes, it is actually in one of the later pages, so I'll show you. It's on page, you're looking down the bottom right-hand corner. It's going to be on page 6, I believe. Sorry, not 6. 7. Page 7. It may not even say it in the bottom right-hand corner. Yeah, it is. It's the first page of this portrait style, not landscape style. So you'll see it says it's 292,835 is the projected carryover at this point.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
We did see, since we're on this page already, since you're already asking about it, if you look down at number 10, where it says the estimated allocation of additional funding, this is Prop 123. This number did go up by about $20,000 from the previous year. So that's new funding or additional funding that the state has put in.
So 301 money.
Not 301 money, Prop 123. Our unrestricted capital funds are down a little bit from the previous year. The new money that is coming in is only down about $7,000 from the previous year. But we, again, have dipped into our reserves a little bit, dipped into our carryover a little bit. So our unrestricted capital is actually down about $70,000 compared to the previous year. And that is on, you can see that on page 5 of 8. If you look there, you can see the prior fiscal year says 683,410, and our current budget year is 610,669.
Okay.
I think if there's anything else to take note of here that is different from the previous year. Our funds are looking good. They really are. We will have to be diligent about making sure we stay within the budget this year. But I believe it's doable. And so that is your budget proposal. Again, in 10 days, we'll have to come back. Well, at least 10 days, we'll have to come back and do the final. Any other questions?
I move that we approve the proposed budget for 2021 fiscal year.
Second.
Okay, Pam Long approving the 2021 budget, and Mr. Callahan seconding that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? It passes. We move on to school district bond.
Okay, if you can hold for just a moment, KG is going to get the attorney on the line.
Okay, we might get put on hold.
understand.
Denise, was there not a proposal on here earlier of what, that we were gonna use the money for on this bond? I thought when I looked at it yesterday, there was a proposal of what the expenditures were gonna be for.
It's in the, it's in the, I, it's
Right,
in the.
well, I thought there was something a lot more detailed than that.
Oh.
But it's not there. No.
You just dropped everybody.
Yeah, so I got the number and everything, the whole conversation.
That's why I'm not doing it, I was afraid of. They think they're on the phone. They'll be busy.
Can you text work until it gets there?
He's on his phone. He doesn't look at his cell phone very much. He's on his home phone, not his cell phone.
I think it's way to check.
Your call was dropped, so if you'll hang up, KG will call you back.
And same, not that you can move real quickly, but with your back the way it is, but I need your signature before you leave, so don't run too fast.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that.
Hey, sorry about that, we got dropped on the call.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry.
Margaret.
oh, that's all right, thanks for calling that.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, let me try to get, Mark back.
Okay,
All right, great, I'm gonna put you on hold again.
okay.
I don't even know how to put people on hold in my office.
Is there anywhere that tells us how much this is gonna cost each individual taxpayer?
No, not yet.
I'm back, okay.
Okay, here, 1 second, let me get Tim back, because
Okay.
somebody.
Not yet. Because we have to determine the terms, you know, so we'll pay for this option, it will cost for less, you know.
We can't, I mean, we can't.
Hello?
Hey, sorry about that.
Information.
Okay,
Yeah, all right, let me try to get the third number.
all right,
Who's a busy signal?
are we on?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get the next person here. Let me see if I can do this correctly.
It's Tim on the outside.
Yeah,
This is Jim Gill.
This is Denise Rogers, calling from Toltec School District.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. We are now on the school bond item. So
Great.
you're on speakerphone.
Okay, good evening. All right, good evening.
So, we're just now starting this, so we're talking about there is a bond, or we'll begin the conversation, there's a bond for, the 2020 general election, and we want to do it to start some general education preschool programs at those schools, establish an alternative program for students who we lose to long-term suspension, purchasing much-needed buses, and renovations such as removing the nasty carpet and polishing our concrete floors, and are renovating the student restrooms at TES. Those are some of our pressing needs. And the language in the ballot is located in Exhibit A in the resolution. So the scope of the purposes listed, they would fall into those categories. So we have an IGA, and which is due. The IGA is due, and I forgot to bring my timeline, but the IGA is due quickly. And then we have the certificate and the resolution. So do you have any questions for the attorney?
Yes, my question is there a way that we can determine what this is going to cost an average taxpayer?
Denise, do you have that information from Brian? She sent you like any information in terms of the home value at 80,000 or 100,000?
Yeah, I did talk to Brian yesterday, and he said that we would still have to determine how much it was going to cost. So that is not put in here yet to the resolution. That's not added as of yet, that information.
Right. Yeah, that'll be, we'll include that in the ballot once we have it. And it's really a factor of how it's really a factor of the estimated interest rate. And as the board probably is aware, we're still at pretty much historically low interest rates. I mean, who knows, where we wind up with interest rates next year when the bonds would actually be sold, but interest rates are still very low. So it depends on the interest rate that the bond is sold at and the actual debt service schedule. So when you'll pay the principal out, you have 20 years from the date of when the bonds are eventually issued, assuming the voters approve in November. You have 20 years. Most districts pay the bonds off a little bit sooner, but the quicker you pay the bonds off, obviously, the bigger impact on the taxpayers in the more immediate future. But the district's bond underwriters, people will be able to provide an estimate that will go into the ballot, and then all of the election information, because we're required under statute at any election information have the estimated average tax rate included as part of the information. So that'll go in the ballot, it'll go in the election notice, it'll also go in the voter information pamphlet that the board might be familiar with. It's the pamphlet that gets mailed to all the households in the district with a registered voter, and describes what the funds will be used for. It has the actual ballot language, and it has an estimated debt service schedule, as well as any pro and con statements that the public submits to the county to be included in the voter information pamphlet. And I guess the only other thing I would add is that the ballot language that you have in Exhibit A is taken directly from the statute. So we've included everything the statute allows. As Denise described, you're obviously not doing everything on there. You're not buying land, for example, but we recommend that you keep that on the ballot. And just in case circumstances change, we'll narrow that list down as it appears in the voter information pamphlet. There'll be a table called the capital expenditure table, and then we'll assign a dollar amount to each line item in terms of type of expenditure, so that the voters will have a good idea, and the district will be held to that capital expenditure table in the voter information pamphlet. Under the statute, you're required to follow
this,
for that resolution.
yeah, on the, where we, if the ballot, if we put this on the ballot and the bond is approved and we have it in there that we're gonna spend money on specific items, is there a specific amount that is marked for each item that we're obligated to, or is the bond monies allowed to be used for any amount in any of those areas?
Okay, so good question. A lot of it depends on how specific we are in the voter information pamphlet on that capital expenditure table I was mentioning. A lot of districts, try to be very general in the language. I mean, they would use terms such as, renovations to school facilities, including equipment, technology and equipment. And you might also build in, safety and security, things of that nature. So I've seen it many times where it will be a single line item with the full $8 million in there, so that the objective there is to give the district maximum flexibility in terms of the ability to use some of the money for renovations, some of the money for furniture, some for equipment, etc. So it all gets included in one line item potentially. Another way to do it is to break it out in 2 or 3 or 4 line items. So one for renovations, one for furniture, equipment, and technology, one for, say, school buses, things of that nature. But the issue with doing that is you do tie your hands a bit because you're held to each line item plus or minus 10%. So if we say, $4 million for renovation, then you've got to spend $4 million for renovation plus or minus $400,000. So, but if you put it all in a single line item, which again, many districts do, then it all kind of, it's all in one item, so it can be changed within. So it depends on how you think the voters would like to see it.
One other question. What's our timeline on this? Are we somewhat at the end of the line here? We need to make a decision tonight?
Well, tonight you really would need to, just to meet the county's deadline, you need to call the election tonight. But that does not finalize that list of capital expenditures. We haven't even started working. Well, I think we have actually started working on your pamphlet, but that's not due yet. It won't be due until mid to late July. So we still have some time with the pamphlet. So tonight you'd simply be ordering the election. You'd be delegating to Denise and her staff the authority to move forward with the county, execute the IGA, and make progress on the voter information pamphlet. So if the board feels like it would like to see the pamphlet back, you don't need to formally approve the pamphlet, because again, you're delegating that to staff to do that. But you can certainly, at a future meeting, if you'd like, or even informally, see the pamphlet and offer input. That would be up to you and provide that guidance or direction to staff. But again, I don't anticipate us formally coming back with you and seeking another resolution to approve the pamphlet. But there's certainly time for that to happen and get your input over the next couple of weeks.
Perfect, thank you.
Does anybody else have anything to say in this discussion? All right, let's move along and see if we have a motion to approve.
Thank you. Thank you, James. Appreciate your assistance.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I make the motion, we approve the bond issue and allow Denise and her staff to move forward.
I second it.
I have a move by Mr. Callahan and Member Long has seconded. All in favor, say aye.
All right?
Aye. All against? Motion passes. We move on to the calendar revision.
The principal said that we know that we needed to delay the start of school by at least 1 week in order to be, in order. Hello? Hello? Hello, Mark?
Yep, I'm here.
We're hearing some background. James? 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 Can you come and check this out? Did you, someone's got their phone? I don't know. Tim, you're here, so it must be the attorney.
I'm here. It's got the attorney still attached. Yeah. No, yeah, you gave it away like an offhand way. And KJ get in there and,
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah, he's working on it
okay,
now.
sorry about that, I can't see.
Yeah, there's no way to sing around.
Let me just-
Is it easier just for me and Tim to hang up and have you, reconnect with us?
Denise is texting attorney.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, hopefully that will be attended to very quickly. Okay. So with our calendars, we needed to delay, and so as I was working on Friday, I was considering everything, and I felt impressed to delay our calendar to start with students for Monday, August 17th. And actually, according to Governor Ducey's proclamation yesterday, that's right in line because the school is delayed till the 17th. So now our calendars match as far as students starting and everything match what the governor put forth yesterday afternoon. So that's great for us. The Masonic Student Assistant Program, that training was supposed to be for all of our teachers and for 3 days. We're going to go ahead and cancel that for now because I'm not comfortable doing any training with large groups. So all of our training will be done in very small groups. There is a problem. The problem is we don't want people to go without pay for such a long period of time. Okay, so when you're delaying, when you're pushing everything 2 weeks, forward 2 weeks, now you have people waiting for pay for 2 additional weeks. So we have 2 categories of people or personnel with pay. You have your hourly and you have your salary. And so Tim has spoke with the auditor, and they still don't have an answer on the salary. And you see, that's the thing we've come against in this entire pandemic is still questions that we wait for answers on. So we still don't have a clear thing there. So we may need to bring back the work calendars
Well,
and
at this
some of
point,
our,
I'm just gonna make a motion, we table this completely until we know what, because it could change again in 2 weeks.
So just say, sorry to interrupt, but just say, at least with one calendar, we need you to go through and pass it, and that's the 12-month calendar, because it's effective tomorrow. And there are some changes in the 12-month calendar based on what was presented before. So the rest of the calendars could potentially wait. But the 12-month does have changes in that are effective this week.
well, I have some requests from the county and the state for our calendars, so I told them we'd be getting those to them. So I think, our work calendars may have some revisions, but what we're going to do anyways, like I had stated earlier, is to bring staff back as for some of our funding is going, in July for some training, so they would have some days to work before August per se, if they weren't scheduled to come back to work till August.
Well, I just think approve this calendar, things will change in the beginning. No matter what we do, because of the state and how things are going, who knows, they may change it till even a later date. So, we just have to, I think we need just to approve this calendar, just so that we have something on the table.
Okay, I'll go for that. I make a motion to approve the calendar revisions, and we will just wait and see what happens at our next board meeting and see what we found out from the state.
Second, I'll second. All right, so Ms. Long, has made a motion, and Jim Jason has seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did we miss something? And all against? Motion passes. We now move on to, the social studies curriculum.
We're in constant revision, I think. So our social studies revision, our revised social studies curriculum came to that the one who headed up, the teacher who headed up our curriculum team did not get a full quote, only got a quote for one of the schools. So obviously we were, when you approved the curriculum, it was not correct. So it would be to provide for kindergarten through 8th grade for this curriculum would be an increase of $53,038.32. In speaking with so it would go up from $89,795 to $142,833. So in the principals and vice principals stated that, they just think that social studies right now is an essential purchase for the curriculum for the junior high students, 6th through 8th grade, but that it could be delayed for grades K through 5th, especially with the pandemic and missing the 4th quarter. So they said the emphasis is going to be on English language arts and mathematics. So they don't want the district to go to a lot of expense when it will not be utilized like it would be in a typical situation. So next year we're looking at adopting science curriculum. So what I could foresee or predict is that we could do our science curriculum next year, and then the year following get the social studies for the rest of the grades, and then we'd be caught up with the curriculum.
Is social studies even that big of a subject in first year kindergarten through 5th grade?
Well, I just think it's a shame that our students are not learning as much history. And the one thing that you can do with social studies is you can tie in writing and reading standards into that. So you can, do some reading and writing in normal circumstances. Also, our teachers are still getting used to a lot of, the new curriculum and learning that. So this might not be a bad thing after all.
Well, I'll make a motion, we approve the revised social studies curriculum for the 6th to 8th grades at $67,492.42.
Second.
Do we have a second?
Yep.
Okay, I just heard somebody else talking in the background.
I think that's the attorney.
Yeah, I think so too. A motion by Dennis Callahan, approval, and Sam Long, second. All in agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against? Motion passes. We move on to contract special education number G.
We've been working to every year we renew a contract for special education services. The original company that we've been doing services with for 4 or 5 years has drastically increased the cost. And so, of course, we do get bids or we are proposing to go with Savvy Speech. They are, even with the one company we were doing business with before, with their drastic increase and the other bids that we received were even more. And so this one is our best, bet for a couple of reasons. One is that it is less money. It's not an exact number because they do by the hour, so it would depend on the services that the students needed. But they estimate it to be around $300,000, and this is at least $80,000 less than what we've been quoted with other companies. I do like the fact that this company does do it by the hour, because that gives us some, instead of just saying it was gonna be this much, that gives us, I think, a fair, I think that's more fair than just a huge amount, just saying.
The company that we had before, where did they work out of?
Phoenix.
Yeah.
But did we have to provide office space, copiers, printers, and everything for these people?
What's that?
Yep, since they're right here.
We provided that with the other company too.
Oh, they can
All the provisions are the same. for both
When they-
companies.
come in for meetings, or they come in, so like your speech therapist, your occupational therapist, your physical therapist, we have classrooms for them to come in just as staff, and on certain days for certain times to service the students. So when they come in, they are treated as staff and they do use the facilities.
So that's the norm, they've done that, that's the
Yeah.
way we've done it before.
Yes.
And they're from Phoenix, so are we paying travel time
No,
No, we pay an hourly rate.
for the hours that they're here?
We are providing services.
or that they're writing their evaluations and those sort of things, the hours that they work for us. This is a company that used to do our services before we started working with a bigger company, and they do know our students and staff, and I've heard good things. Staff were excited to have them return.
All right. Do we have a motion?
Yep,
All right, Pam.
I make a motion to approve the contract with Savvy Speech to provide special education services for the 2020 and 2021 school year.
Do I have a second? Very good. I have Ms. Long make a motion for the second speech and communication seconded. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against? Motion passes. Number 8. Food service salary allowance.
These are 4 employees who have worked for us for a while and need to be aligned on the salary schedule. It'll cost the district about $3,800 to do so.
Yeah, I thought we'd already been through all of this before.
We thought we had, and when we left the meeting after Johnny had mentioned, hey, we want to make sure it's taken care of, we went back and double checked, and this is what.
So this is
These are the
the
final-
last straw.
This is what we're hoping, yes.
As far as we know, these are the 4 that still needed to be.
So you looked at every employee.
Yes. So what has happened, just to kind of give you some clarity, as the minimum wage has gone up, in the past practice seemed to be to just move everybody to make sure they were at minimum wage. Going forward, we're gonna increase the salary schedule as minimum wage goes up, so people will stay at their current spot.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the salary alignment for the food service employees.
Second?
All right, Ms. Van Long has made a motion and Ms. Dennis McCallum has seconded. All in favor of this food service salary alignment, say aye. 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 All against? Motion passes. The interim maintenance transport supervisor, aye.
attempting to call the attorney. I texted him, but he's not answering.
I'll try to email it. Jane.
Yeah, here's his phone number. You wanna text call? I think he laid his cell phone down and they're having dinner or something. Okay, so this is for the hire of the maintenance and transportation supervisor position. And what I'm proposing is that we hire Mr. Gutierrez on an interim basis. So the work agreement will be an at-will work agreement, so that if things are not going well, then we will be able to terminate quickly or without any problems. We do anticipate things to go well, of course, but we also want to make sure that we're taking care of the district. And so for 90 days, we want him to get his CDL because he does not have experience in the school setting. And the position would normally pay $50,000, but he would go up to that. So this at will and this interim period would be from July 6th up to December 31st. So we'll do a 90-day probationary. Tim and I will be, meeting with him and seeing how things go. If things go well, then we'll be bringing back to you to authorize or approve his hire as the maintenance and transportation supervisor, which his pay would be then increased to the $50,000 annually. And that would be from whatever time the probationary period ends to June 30th, and then it's prorated. But at this time, he would be paid $21 an hour for a 40-hour work week. If there was any overtime, it would have to have prior approval from myself or the business manager.
I would like to make a motion to approve the hire of Jose Angel Gutierrez as an interim maintenance transportation supervisor for a probationary period until December 31st, 2020.
And I would like to second that.
Very good. We have a motion by Count Long, the interim maintenance transportation supervisor, and a second by Dennis Callahan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion passes. We move on to assistant for superintendent. Jay.
Okay, I ask that this be put on the agenda as an action item because I believe that we need to hire a assistant for our superintendent. It's going to be a part-time position, but we need a superintendent who doesn't have to work 12 hours a day to 14 hours a day. I don't know, I get emails like, you need to go get her. And we need to provide her with the tools so that she can do her job. And that's just all there is to it. And we have not done that, and we need to correct that. Anybody got questions?
Thank you for putting that on there, Ben. I told her she didn't have to ask her, she just need to go ahead and do it.
Yep. Is that okay with you, Mark?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry, I was calling. I was trying to listen, but I'm sorry. I did. It's okay by me, man.
Okay. Do we just need a motion then?
That's all we need.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve the position of executive assistant to the superintendent.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion, assistant superintendent, by Ms. Sam Long and Mr. Dennis Callahan, has seconded. All in favor of this position, say aye.
Aye.
All against? That one went quick. Okay, let's run to the grant specialist position. Okay.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you very much. Kind of get a little emotional, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
You know, we want to give you the tools to do your job so that you don't have to, get all stressed out.
I appreciate it.
Sure. talk about, K, is that right? 6K, okay. So, of course, I was doing grants or have been doing grants for the last year, and moving over to the business office, and hopefully letter L gets approved. But with that, we're looking at ways to possibly save money to be able to do the assistant for the superintendent. And so I presented the idea that we could, instead of hiring another grant specialist, that we could utilize our front office receptionist to do some of the grant duties. And then the business manager would still maintain the grants, which is really the way it used to be before we hired a grant specialist. But it would allow the business manager to have an assistant to help with the grants. And so that's what's presented to you here, is to give the front receptionist person a bump in pay to be able to handle some of the grant duties, such as doing reimbursement requests, taking care of some of the things, processing the invoices and stuff for the school facilities board, some of those responsibilities.
The office, the clerical type.
The clerical type work.
Not up on the roof with the contract.
Right. The clerical work that she could do, or whoever is the receptionist at the time, could do and handle. That person, that the receptionist has already been taking care of things, clerical in nature, also in the way of doing the student activities, and then also helping some with accounts payable. And this is another thing that they can take on with a slight bump in pay to give them some compensation for their additional duties.
And so this kind of gets rid of the grant specialist, and it just puts this off of the receptionist position and you.
Correct. That's correct.
So, just to make sure that I'm clear on all this, so this person is going to be the receptionist / grants assistant, okay? Well, where does the superintendent's assistant come in? Is it gonna be the same person?
No.
Okay.
No, the superintendent's assistant, completely separate position.
Okay, good.
This is taking our
Separate
current,
office and everything.
yep, this is our
Okay,
current
good.
receptionist that's at the front office, just adding some more responsibilities to that position at the front office.
Okay, that's good to know. 'Cause-
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the grant specialist position change as is presented on item K.
I will second it.
All right, we have a grant special position change as presented by Mr. Callahan and second by Pam Long. All in agreement, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion passes. We move on now to business manager contract. And let's have you speak on that, Ms. Wright.
So Timothy McCain was approved as interim business manager on March 11th. And in this 3-month interim period, he has proven to be competent and committed. He takes initiative. He responds very quickly when I need him. There's times that I might email him or send him a message. I try to email if it's too late, and I'll be surprised when he's answering. I'm going, oh my goodness. So within 5 minutes, normally, I don't expect that 100% of the time, but I'm always impressed with how he's Johnny on the spot. And he's never balked at anything that I've asked him to do. He has a positive attitude, gets along well with everyone. He has been a very positive addition. I am pleased with his ability, and he picks up on things very quickly, and he's doing very well, and I would like to recommend him for the position of district business manager to begin tomorrow.
Anyone have any discussion on this? Other than, I think that's actually a good choice, and every time I deal with him, he's on top of everything, so.
I would like to make a motion to approve Tim McCain to, be our new district business manager, starting 7/1/2020.
I say,
All right, we have Tim Kane as the business manager, the work agreement, and starting tomorrow, by motion made by Ms. Pam Long, seconded by Dennis Callahan. Do I have all in agreement, say aye?
aye,
Aye. All against? Motion passes. We have the next thing, superintendent maintenance base, number M. We have any discussion on this at this time?
yeah, I have some things I'd like to say. Last year, and no discredit to anybody, Denise does an amazing job. And we set these goals, as goals we would like to see achieved over the next year or to continue to work towards. Last year, after we had finished this, I was somewhat happy with myself for not standing up and saying what I really felt like needed to be said. And so for this year, I'm going to do that. We have these items here: continued effort to improve the unity within the district. Again, an A+ in that one. School letter grade improvements, we haven't seen that. That hasn't happened. And I know there's a lot of variables that go into that, and it's very difficult with our state. But as I said, as I asked Ms. Rogers 3 times before I ever voted for her to be superintendent, are you sure you want this job? There's a lot of things that go with it, and you're responsible for the actions of a lot of people. You know, so the letter grade things, I don't think we made the mark on that one. I think, as a matter of fact, I think we've got to go in the wrong direction. Our curriculum updates have done good at that. She stayed on top of that. The financial recovery and budget control, excuse me. I know we still have some issues with the auditors as they come. I don't know how long that's going to take to correct. I know a lot of it goes back to before she was superintendent. However, again, you accepted the responsibilities of the job, so this comes with it. Improve audit findings. Again, you still get negative comments on the audits. She did work very diligently to make notes because she realizes that we have to have answers when they come. Effort to improve community relations, in my opinion, she's done a great job there. Again, A+. Security coordination and partnerships. Again, that's something that's just an ongoing deal. Now here's another one, our special education improvements. I don't think our special education has improved. I think we've missed the mark on that one. I don't think I've seen anything that would really want me to say, yeah, we're doing great there, because we're just not. And a continued effort to recruit appropriately certified teachers. Again, we talked about this earlier tonight about how many substitutes we pay for. If there's things that we need to approve as a board to be able to recruit teachers, then that needs to be brought to us so that we can make a decision and give you what you need to do it. But that part of it's up to you. So let us know what it is that you need to be able to do these things right here as far as special ed, recruiting teachers. And I know there's a teacher shortage in America, and that's not any, that was that way when you accepted the job. So as far as the way that I perceive the last 12 months, we've not hit every mark as good as we could.
Well,
and that's just my perception.
You know, on the school letter grade improvements for this school year that technically was over before it was over, there was no AC merit testing. So the letter grade, that's out of our control. That's out of every school's control because of that, because there was no testing. So the grade, it is what it is. And didn't we bring ACEs up didn't we bring one of the schools up?
I did an appeal and was able to bring ACEs.
Yeah. So, you know, let's hope with these kids not having any school for so long that they can come back roaring. And, you know, like you said, special education needs work. Yes, it does. And I see we are currently working on that. So that's good. And then, you know, to recruit the teachers, and, you know, we offer a lot to the teachers. We offer a 4-day work week. They have good benefits. and as far as, you know, like having too many subs come in, you know, unfortunately, there are, and this is not only teachers, this is every person who works. Some people, as soon as they have 8 hours, they're calling in sick because they feel that's their right. So, you know, it's very hard to recruit good teachers. It just is. I wish the state could do something about that, but I don't know. But I think Denise has done an excellent job since she was
She's done a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not denying that at all.
without a doubt. So that's my 2 cents for it.
Thank you. I would like to say that it is impossible. I don't think that there's any district that never has any audit findings. I mean, that's just something, they work until they do. Our audit findings have gone to what a normal district has.
Our
The one thing that still remains is the
I was gonna say, our auditor even
inventory.
said that he said this was a straightforward audit.
Yeah,
He didn't even say this is a bad audit. He says very straightforward. So,
yeah, they had good things to say. And then as far as special education improvements, I did receive an update from Mrs. Pulver that she met with the State Department a couple days ago, and we are in compliance right now, and so we are making strides that way also. So I asked her to give me a rundown on that, and she did. It was so hectic with being out of the office and then just open it back up, but I do need to forward that on to you.
Okay, so Mrs. Pulver said, what, because I'm sorry, I'm not missing, I've been over here coughing a little bit.
What had been asked for by the state, all of the, everything that had been asked for had been met at this time.
Oh, okay, so Mrs. Pulver had gotten that special education improvements, and they got what they needed. Okay.
Yeah, so far we're doing better, and we'll just keep on that road. So I think it's probably a year or two that they'll be, you know, looking at everything carefully, so.
Okay, we're keeping a special eye on that. Okay, all right. So does anybody have, as a board, we can go from 0 to 5,000. Does anybody have an amount? Where do we stand on it with everybody this time?
I'm fine with the 5,000 because, you know, I think that's fair, and that based on the work that has been done. I would like to make a motion to approve the performance-based pay for the superintendent.
5,000?
Yes.
Okay, does anyone second? I second. Okay, so Ms. Pam Long, performance-based of 5,000, for, Ms. Rogers, and a second by, Tim Cason. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All against?
Aye.
All right, it passes, at 5,000 for Ms. Rogers.
You know, if we had to pay overtime, it'd cost us a whole lot more than that.
It's because of a lot of the overtime that I have to go with the 5,000. She's there from the moment I get up in the morning, I drive by, she's there after I go home, and even if I'm late going home, she's still there. And she's working at home, I get all kinds of things. So, let's move on to the closing of the meeting.
So is the next date gonna be the 8th? The next meeting?
No, I think because the 8th was like right on top, I think we would move it to Wednesday, the 15th, the third Wednesday.
Okay.
That would give us time to post that proposed budget for the 10 days that's required.
Does that work for you, Dennis?
I think so. I should be back, so.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think
but I should be back, so.
That's good, so I'm hoping that works for everybody, because it just seems like everybody's kind of busy that first week, and it's just not working right for everybody, so the 15th seems to be the spot, for all of us. So if everybody's in agreement with that, we'll move on to
motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right, second.
Okay, second.
All right, that's gonna have, made a motion for the adjournment, Van Long seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, all against, say aye. Motion passes. So we will meet again at, July, 15th.
Mark and Tim, don't hang up yet.
I'm still here.
Okay. I'm gonna take the microphone off because then no one else needs to hear me talk. I don't know how to turn it off, but it's right here.